The rain had stopped, but the air clung to the Holloway family like a wet shroud as they crammed boxes into the Victorian sagging foyer. Eli, the father, paused at the foot of the drive, squinting at the weathered welcome sign, its wrought iron twisted into a glyph he'd seen only in his grad school occult studies. His wife, Mara, shrugged. "Local artisan's flair," she said, hefting a lamp. Teenage daughter Lila snapped photos of the peeling paint. 8-year-old Jonah pressed his palm to the window, muttering about the bumps on the floorboards. By midnight, the bumps became thumps. Jonah's screams woke them all, something underneath him, clawing. Mara found him huddled on the hallway rug, his nightlight shattered. "It's just settling," Eli said, though the thumps synced to his own pulse as he replanted Ivy in the study. Lila's phone buzzed with a push notification. The town archives have 12 missing family reports since 1897, all involved historians. The study's oak desk held a tarnished brass key. Eli traced the glyph on the sign in a dusty journal. "The keeper demands a house, a hearth, a bloodline. The circle completes with the fourth moon." He tossed the book. "Superstition." But Lila's photo of the welcome sign now showed a face in the ironwork, smudged but unmistakable. She retouched it, saving the file. The original vanished from her camera roll. Mara heard the whispers first. They slithered through the vents, a chorus of voices too old to be human. She told herself it was stress, but the temperature in the basement, always 3 degrees colder, dipped to freezing. Jonah drew pictures of a faceless woman with roots for hair. "She's in the floor," he said, jabbing his crayon at the paper. Eli found the trapdoor beneath the kitchen tiles. The key fit. Stairs spiraled down into a chamber where cobwebs clung to a pentagram etched in the stone. Names ringed the circle. Holloway, Voss, Marlowe, each with a date, each 4 generations apart. His breath fogged the air. "We're not the first," he whispered. The glyph from the sign glowed on the wall, and the whispers swelled, now distinct. Dig. Burn. Bury. Lila's laptop flashed with a new search result. Local historian Eli Holloway's genealogy thesis mentions an 1898 land transfer from the Marlowe estate. The document is redacted. She clicked too fast, the screen flickering to static. Jonah's thumps had turned to drum beats. Thrum, thrum, thrum. Counting down. Mara discovered the candle wax pooling on the study mantel, though no candles had been lit. The scent was myrrh, the same Eli burned in his rituals now. "You're obsessed," she snapped, peeling a melted wick from the hearth. He didn't look up from the journal. "The keeper feeds on memory, not flesh. The fourth moon demands remembrance." The full moon arrived with a sky the color of bruised fruit. Eli stood in the basement, bloodless hands gripping a trowel. The glyphs on the walls pulsed. Above, Lila's camera footage showed him descending, but the timestamp looped, 11:59 p.m. to 11:59 p.m., the screen bleeding static. When she screamed, the footage cut to black. Jonah's nursery rhyme echoed through the halls. "Here we go round the mulberry bush," the lyrics warped. "And dig a hole for you." Mara found Eli in the garden, shirtless, scratching at the soil. "It's not a house," he rasped. "It's a vault. Where's the key?" The glyph from the sign bloomed on his palm, glowing as the earth yawned open. Mara's scream curdled the air. Eli's fingers, now streaked with soil and what gleamed like bone shards, dug into the earth. The glyphs on his palm mirrored the basement carvings, their edges sharp as splinters. "He needs them," he hissed, nodding at the house. The windows darkened, swallowing the moonlight. Lila stumbled into the hallway, her camera clutched like a talisman. The screen flickered to life, showing the basement's ritual circle now filled with jagged symbols, ones she'd never drawn. Her breath fogged the lens as the timestamp stuttered. 11:51. 11:48. 11:51. Jonah's laughter seeped through the walls, deeper, wetter, as if the house itself were snickering. The front door slammed. Mara froze. It hadn't moved. The sign outside, the one with the glyph, glowed faintly, its red paint bleeding into the dusk. "He's not in the garden," she whispered. Eli's back was to her, but the soil he dug was now a trench, paling in and out of existence like a heartbeat. "You don't see it, do you?" Lila demanded, thrusting the camera toward Mara. The footage showed their faces in the study. Mara's, Eli's, Jonah's. And another child, a boy with Jonah's eyes, standing behind them, smiling. The timestamp? April 3rd, 1987, Waqt, the date their last known tenants vanished. Eli turned, his mouth stretched in a rictus grin. "The keeper doesn't want a house," he said, voice layered like a chorus. "He wants us, every family, every cycle." The trench yawned wider, revealing layers beneath, circular rooms stacked like Russian dolls, each containing a warped version of their home. In one, a woman screamed as shadows coiled around her throat. In another, Jonah's nursery rhyme played from a child's mouth who wasn't Jonah. The sign outside flared. Mara read the new text. "Remember the Marlows. Remember the keys." Her phone buzzed. A text from her own number. "The basement isn't yours. It's theirs." Behind her, the basement door slammed open. The glyphs on the walls pulsed, and the air tasted of iron. Jonah's voice came from the hallway, but it was too loud, too close. The floorboards groaned as if something were writhing beneath. Lila dropped the camera. The screen showed their reflections, except the reflections' eyes were black, and the timestamp, red. 11:59 bomb. As the screen shattered, Eli began to sing, soft and sweet, the nursery rhyme. Mara backed toward the still glowing sign. Its glyph now had their initials etched into it. The trench filled with smoke, and the smoke formed hands, dozens of them, reaching for Eli, who stood still, smiling. The house groaned. The windows rattled. Jonah's laughter turned to a wail as the shadows in the hallway coagulated into a figure, a man with Eli's face, wearing a tattered journal. The same journal Eli had been reading. "Welcome to the vault," the shadow Eli said. "You'll be our guests, forever." The real Eli dropped to his knees, his hands now empty. The trench closed. The sign outside faded. Somewhere, a clock ticked. 11:59. Pordua. The smoke hands closed around Eli's throat, lifting him as he choked on his own rhyme. Mara screamed, lunging, her nurse's gloves catching on his skin, which now gleamed with the same iridescent sheen as the glyphs. Jonah, trembling in the doorway, noticed the new carvings blooming across Eli's arms. Initials from the clippings. F and M Voss. 1894. R and S Hale. 1937. Each family swallowed by the house. Lila scrambled backward, her phone flashlight flickering over the trench. The smoke reformed into a child's silhouette, Jonah's size, its face a mirror of his own, save for the absence of eyes. It pointed at the journal in shadow Eli's hand. "Ask him why he brought you here," it whispered, voice echoing with a chorus of smaller children. Mara tore free of the shadows, gripping Eli's arm. "You looked up the ritual. You—" A convulsion racked him. His pupils split into concentric rings, like an owl's. "I didn't. It told me." His gaze locked onto the sign's fading glyph. "It says we're the finale. The vault's full tonight." Jonah's breath hitched. The trench had refilled, but now it housed a mirror of their living room, furniture askew, their dog's leash dangling from the door. Their dog, who died 2 years ago. Lila dropped the flashlight. The beam caught the journal's cover. Its title, once blank, now read, The Keeper's Guide. Shadow Eli tilted his head. He's the keeper now. He nodded at Jonah. You always were. The boy's hand flew to his chest, where a faint glyph pulsed beneath his shirt, identical to the sign. The smoke hands released Eli, who crumpled hollow-eyed, whispering, It's not a vault. It's a cage. The walls began to bleed.